welcome. You can't hear us. We're like disembodied voices right now. Is that weird, RV?
Yeah, definitely a little weird.
That's all right. We like to keep it interesting around here. Oh, there he is, Michael Kurson. Oh, look at him. Is he dressed up too? Look at that guy.
What's up, guys?
Can you hear us?
Hello.
I got you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's see what our attendance is looking like. Are we actually live? I always like to check and see if we're actually live. Are we live? Are we live? Let's see.
I'll check on my end too.
Yeah, confirm. Yeah, we're live. All right, coming at you live. We'll go ahead and switch over to our, you'll be able to see all of our shining faces. Look at that.
There we are.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Let's turn this music off and we'll get right into it. Welcome to another edition of Friday Coffee. This time it's in the afternoon. So I don't know if you guys are drinking your coffee. I kind of continually drink coffee all day long. So normally we do these in the morning. It's weird.
Yeah.
And RV already caught a mistake. So
Realized wearing stripes for live or just recording in general is not the smartest thing, but I don't see it reflecting as bad. You guys tell me, but I think it's okay. Won't do it again though. Learn my lesson.
I think it's good.
I think you're getting news
Yeah.
to me. I didn't know that rule, so you learned something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, as soon as I joined, I started like reflecting and I was like, oh shoot. But seems like we're okay.
Right. You can just cut that out if it's not live, but we are live. So as usual, we have RV and I here holding it down for you. We have another guest, Michael Kurson. Michael, if you want to introduce yourself to our guest audience of probably 5 people, but that's all right.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm Michael. I'm the co-founder and head of go-to-market here at FirstTouch. And FirstTouch is a company that helps businesses operationalize social. So we'll get into all of that today, but that's the quick background on me. And I'm based in Boston, Mass.
Yeah. So
Nice.
the interesting thing about that is like people were already asking us questions about that operationalization of social before we even jumped into this. And I didn't pay for that, by the way, or plan it or anything like that. It was someone who was 2 people that were genuinely interested in it. So we'll get back to that specifically. Michael, if you're not familiar with the live show, it's pretty free form. We just kind of ask some questions. It's kind of the intersection of technology and business and personal lives and all
Live,
that
yeah.
fun stuff live. So we'll just kind of roll. I think that I met you because I reached out to you. I think you like viewed my profile or you viewed the company page or my company page or something like that. And then I reached out to you. And what I recognized immediately was obviously you have a high level of credibility on your platform, but we were also both in Boston. So it kind of felt as if I could reach out and touch you if there was like some synergy, right? So I guess an interesting topic for people is like, tell us about like the Boston tech scene or how you like run into people. Like, you're using LinkedIn, I would assume, to meet people and build your business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I think Boston's going through an interesting moment right now. Obviously AI is so buzzy everywhere, but there's been a couple people in the Boston area that I think have done a really great job of like building communities over the last 8 months. There's a thing called Mass AI Coalition. I was just at an event on Wednesday. And really like they've put together these task force to kind of get like-minded people together, right? So like getting early stage founders together, getting later stage founders together, getting the government, to chip in and buy AI credits for businesses and, start to like, try to stoke the economy and the ability for people to start really great technology companies here in Boston. I went to Babson, so that was like an entrepreneurial school right outside of the city. And it was super, that was like my first kind of real experience being around a bunch of entrepreneurs. Like 7 of my 10 best friends there started companies. 4 of them are still running those companies.
Can we pause on that for a second? Because a lot of people, especially if they're not from Boston, they don't know Babson and they don't know what Babson's story is. Yeah. Babson is kind of like a work, learn, study kind of college. Am I far off on that one? Or
I mean, technically it's like a standard college, but it's got a good reputation for entrepreneurship. So I think it's one like top entrepreneurial school in the country for like 20 years straight or something like that. But the school does a really good job of trying to get people together that are entrepreneurs and like admitting students that want to be entrepreneurs. But ultimately, I think it's like mostly the culture of the students. Like the stuff that I did was like not school affiliated. They obviously helped and created connections, and it was very much like motivated by the people around me. But it was like such an interesting environment. So yeah, I mean that was like the Babson side, and then I was at Klaviyo after leaving Babs, after graduating Babson, tech company in Boston, started by a Boston-based founder. We actually went to the same high school.
High school together.
Yeah, he was older than me, so I didn't know him in high school. It just happened to be a fun fact. But that was like the second experience that I had where it was like, okay, cool, like Boston entrepreneurship, but that was a much more scale company. I think I was employee like 500 or 600 there, and I get to be a part of that process as a BDR and AE. Seeing this company scale, being a part of that experience, helping build out what we called new verticals at the time, which was expanding into new markets. So that was like my first tech sales experience. And I think really the precipice of like what we're doing and a lot of the experience that I've had that kind of set us up for the opportunity here at FirstTouch and my ability to kind of be a part of the business.
And RV, you just relocated to be in an area, not in Boston, but you relocated from Ohio.
Yes.
To Florida?
Yes, Fort Lauderdale area. Yeah, definitely what a big change. I mean, Ohio, I don't want to badmouth it, but obviously not big in the tech scene, so very limited. So yeah, complete different from Fort Lauderdale area, at least, or just Miami in general, because they're pretty close. So much more like events and communities and just fun things to do, even meeting people in person, way more opportunities.
That's what I was going to say. Do you feel like already there's like more of an environment to foster your professional growth there? Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So, plus, more opportunities to do fun things too. I mean, people even on the professional level, like they schedule fun stuff for like professional beach days, or something like that, where in Ohio, that wouldn't happen, and you really only have like 4 to 5 years of the month or 4 to 5 months of the year to really be outside. So yeah, definitely way more grateful for everything here.
Well, we know that in Boston, that the 4 or 5 months outside kind of thing. But yeah, so like Michael, I think, checked out our company page, and then I connected with him. I saw the synergy, and he's in Boston. And then there's like Boston Tech Week. So again, like just to go back, shout out to Whoop, and specifically, it's like Ryan Durkin's brainchild, right? The Mass AI Coalition. So like you're right, like Massachusetts, or at least like Ryan decided that there was an opportunity for someone to kind of create a focal point to promote AI in the Boston area. And to Michael's point, like he got local government to invest in, he's getting angel people to invest in a certain amount of money to be dedicated to AI-based companies. And it's like really a supportive environment for it.
Yeah.
Where do we want to go with this?
I mean, I'd love to know your experience and how you built, how you ended up to where you are now.
There we go. Hit it with the hard one. How did you end up where you are now?
Let's jump into it. All right. So first of all, what's up, everybody that's in the chat and watching? Appreciate all of you. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to follow along. But we're going to get to how did we go from Klaviyo and being a sales rep to being at, FirstTouch and building this company now. So basically the through line of like my whole career has been LinkedIn. So that's like the starting point, right? I ran a company in college. I won't spend too much time talking about it, but we raised money. We built partnerships. We ended up getting that company like $600K in revenue, but that was all through LinkedIn. Found investors through LinkedIn, found advisors through LinkedIn, found customers and partners through LinkedIn. The whole thing was LinkedIn. And that was the first time in my career where I was like, oh shoot, like if you just reach out to people, like they'll reply to you. Or like some of them will reply to you.
Sometimes they don't, right?
I got a ton of no's and I got a ton of nothing. But, I kind of just sat there after class every day and I was like, okay, I'm going to DM. Like at that point, there was no rate limits on LinkedIn. I think I was DMing like 50 people a day. But that was
Probably
the first
higher
experience.
reply rates too than now.
Yeah, probably was a little quieter.
Yeah.
But when I got to Klaviyo, so that business didn't end up working out. You try things, they don't end up working. I ran that company for like 4 years. But once I got to Klaviyo and I was on the BDR team there, I knew like how to get in touch with people, right? Because I'd gone through this experience for myself. And so I basically went straight back to LinkedIn and I was like, finding new people, running the same strategies. And I booked probably half my meetings from LinkedIn, but my email volume was super low. My call volume was super low. And managers would be like, you're doing great, but like, you're not doing nearly enough activity, right? Like your call volume is the lowest on the team. Your email volume is super low. And I'm like, no, I'm working my butt off. I'm just on LinkedIn. And they're like, well, we can't track or see anything. And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that's a problem, right? But as long as the results are good, like, cool, right? And they're like, sure, cool. But there's a lot of companies that aren't cool with that, right? And there's a lot of companies that, are very much metric based. Are you doing the right number of calls? Are you doing the right number of emails? And less focused on the results. And so there's a whole bunch of companies out there that aren't motivated to do the right activities. And I think that's a big problem. And so anyway, fast forward a little bit, we built FirstTouch as this extension that was on LinkedIn that helped you do better research and personalize your outreach. That was like the first kind of version of FirstTouch. And this version worked pretty well for a few months, like when ChatGPT was relatively new and people weren't like super adverse to AI outreach. And the messages were decent because they were human in the loop. But eventually we realized like we can't just be a co-pilot, right? Like that's just not the business. Like that's not an impactful enough value proposition for people. But we ended up getting like 3,000 individual reps using the platform. So like did decently. It's just we saw the long term, which just like wasn't going to be a valuable enough solution or sticky enough. And so the second iteration is like we had this idea that agents and people should be working together, right? A lot of folks thought agents are going to take over sales, AI SDRs, right? Where there's no human in the loop and they just build the whole pipeline. And it was like, this is never going to happen. Like people want to buy from other people. They build relationships and trust from people, not AI agents. And so our fundamental belief was agents and people are going to have to live together. People are going to have to do the highest value and highest leverage activities. AI can help them do more of it and should take them out of the monotony of, manual work, basically. And so we built FirstTouch to help companies operationalize social and turn it into a primary go-to-market channel, which means fully automated, fully tracked, fully attributed, and everything stitched back so you can actually measure the impact that it has on your business. So we launched that, Jan 22nd of this year, and we now have over 100 businesses. I think it's over 120 actually that are using the platform.
We're using it, by the way.
Yeah, Brian's doing great too.
I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. Like I'm an actual customer of their software, and for me, like, and I don't intend on turning this into like a plug for FirstTouch or anything like that. But just like the bottom line is like time is the most precious resource, and in order for me to like properly allocate my time, I'm dedicating a ton of time into like researching and doing outreach. And if there's just like some of the manual work that could be like taken out, like I don't want to take myself out of the equation by any stretch, but like a necessity of building my own personal business and my own personal brand is like reaching out to new and potentially interested parties. And I just, there's not a lot of really good ways to do it. And if you do it manually, then you suffer from just things falling to the wayside. And I hate that. I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling if like I can offer someone something or someone asks me to do something and then I tell them that I'm going to do it and I don't do it. Like I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know you, like.
I'm definitely intrigued enough to have to look it up after this call for sure and see.
Love it.
So to that extent, like, your journey is really interesting, Michael, and I would imagine that you are also a consumer, and the product was probably to an extent built for you personally.
Yeah,
it was replacing manual work that you were doing, I'm assuming, more or less. People had questions about it, so they said, "What does operationalization of social actually look like day to day for a sales rep? Is it a structured cadence or more of a mindset shift? That distinction changes whether it scales. So could you answer that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it tends to look a little bit different for a business than a rep. I would say the things that we really help reps with is process. So there's certain things that you shouldn't have to do manually. I shouldn't have to go search a LinkedIn URL every time I want to go connect with someone, right? Those should be triggered based off of things that are happening. So every time someone books a meeting with me, like, yeah, I want to go connect with them, right? And I don't want to have to remember to connect with them. And once they accept, there's two options. Either I might want to automatically send a message, or I might want to approve that message before it goes out. And that's the type of nuance that we allow you to do in FirstTouch. And you can decide, like, hey, depending on how highly scored this prospect or company is, I want to have human in the loop. Or based on the activity that's actually happening, I want to have human in the loop. And so this is like super flexible, but for reps, it's all about putting them into the point of most leverage. The most leverage is not typing in a name and trying to find someone on LinkedIn and pressing connect. The point of most leverage is, what do you do with that once you're connected?
Yeah.
Right.
Mechanic is not as important. The actual stupid clicking through the interface is not valuable, really, is what you're saying.
Right. And then the second piece for reps is like, all of us have a network at this point, right? You have your following and connections on LinkedIn. We released MCP about 3 weeks ago, and you can actually go into Claude Code or Codex or Cursor, and you can say, hey, go through all my first party connections and find me all of the people that I'm connected with that might be relevant or might want to potentially talk about what we're building and doing. And then go reach out to all of them, do it human in the loop. So write messaging, short personalized messaging for me to all of them, make it human in the loop so I can approve and run it. And then all of that data is going to stitch back to HubSpot. It will create net new records for the people that don't exist yet. It will stitch the activity to the people that do. And so you can actually look at the end of the month or quarter and say, this is exactly the results and impact that LinkedIn is having on my business. And this is how we're, automating, attributing, and measuring that process. So those would be like the two use cases for reps.
Do we feel like at this stage, most organizations are driving the majority of their marketing funnel through LinkedIn, or is it still happening through the website, or originating there, or originating on a phone call or an email? Like, do you think that social has taken over as the primary means through which a lot of businesses are generating opportunities for themselves?
I think it depends a little bit on the business. The best way to answer that, and we're getting closer to having, I think, a really good idea. So we have what's called social engagement tracking. So we can understand and see every like and comment that occurs on a post, but you can't see every impression, right? So like you might get 100 likes on a post and you might get 50,000 impressions, but you can't see who the 50,000 people are. You can only see who the 100 people are that engaged. So it's never going to be perfect. And there's always going to be a gap. But basically what we can do is we can track all of the engagement and determine and understand, like, was that the first touch point that they had with your business, right? We also now have website tracking, so we can see, did they come from LinkedIn to the website? And so we're trying to build the surface area to understand and see the exact impact that LinkedIn has on a business. I'll say for us, like 90+% is from LinkedIn today, in terms of how people discover us and how people engage with us, whether they come and fill out a demo form on a website or they DM directly and say, hey, we want to meet and chat about this. The vast majority is coming from LinkedIn today. The second source actually is AI search. It's like people talking to Claude or GPT.
Yeah.
So
That's been a huge increase, I think, for a lot of businesses lately, the AI search. But love or hate LinkedIn, it's definitely still a really big piece of, especially smaller businesses too, as they're growing and you're building like a personal brand on there as well, and a lot of credibility improve. LinkedIn is still huge for sure.
So there's been periods of time where, like, we've gone through where people are like, hey, I don't like being on LinkedIn. I think that it's bad. I think that the content on the feed, or whatever you want to call it, is bad. Are you guys hearing much of that anymore? Or was that kind of like a period of time?
I mean, I still see it on my feed once in a while. I would say maybe not as much, but honestly, I think it comes from, not to put anybody in like a box or anything, but mostly, let's just say, from people that are consumers versus actually going on there with a purpose. Especially if you're not a business, you're just in a role that you're just here to either get a job or, continue just seeing what's out there, kind of like how you would use Facebook. Um, I think it comes from most of them. Again, I don't want to put people in a box because I don't have like data to back it up, but that's just my gut feeling. But I see it once in a while.
How's your feed,
Yeah.
Michael? Do you like your feed? Do you prune your feed? Like,
yeah. I mean, I would say that I probably consume LinkedIn like a little bit less than I try to add to it. Like I'm trying to make more content and consume a little less content. I think the content's okay. It's like decently personalized, I think. I certainly see the people that I engage with more. So like I try to,
Right.
choose who to engage with most. Like if you engage with someone a bunch of times, that tends to indicate what happens on the feed. And like for me, it's like, if I just go out and like all the stuff that people are talking about, LinkedIn and LinkedIn strategy, that's all I'm ever going to see. But what I really want to see is my prospects posts. So that's like the delicate balance, right? It's like, of course, I want to like all the LinkedIn stuff because that's what I'm interested in. But what I really want is I want my prospects coming up on my feed. I want to go engage with them. Of course, like our platform helps us engage with prospects. We don't do any AI commenting. I think that's garbage. We don't do any, yeah, it's like just write your comments. How do you feel about that, Brian?
So for us personally, we actually are potentially in a line for a pilot program that would let our users respond back to comments on their own posts. That's the
okay.
They wouldn't be able they wouldn't be able to go and find relevant posts and have it comment for them automatically. I think the problem there becomes like the whole dead internet theory. And for those that don't know, the dead internet theory is essentially the internet evolves to a point where no humans are really interacting with each other. It's just robots talking to robots at the end of the day. And to an extent, like we're already seeing to a degree, but then to Michael's point, like it becomes tricky when you're like, oh, I want to have it completely take over me. So then at that stage, like, what is the limitations of the scale? If LinkedIn didn't prevent it, what would prevent me from sending out 20,000 connection requests a day with highly personalized like send it out to every single member on LinkedIn and see how it responds, right? So yeah, it gets into weird territory, I would say.
I think that's the piece of LinkedIn that I think is really important. And I think that they're going to continue to operate this way. Whether agents are operating on behalf of people on LinkedIn or not, the fact that it's rate limited and gated is actually really good. And it's the same reason that Slack and Teams have become much more popular. Because if you look at ungated channels like email and phone, I can send as many emails as I want. And I can receive as many emails as I get sent. Same thing with the phone. Like my phone could be blown up the entire day. I'm probably getting 30 calls a day, right? But I have that filter now that says like, if I don't know the number, just like put it to voicemail. So, I think there's like gated channels versus ungated. And I think with AI, gated channels become a lot more valuable because you can curate your experience a little bit better. But to your point, Brian, like, yeah, I think it's a problem for LinkedIn. I think a study just came out that 41% of the content generated on LinkedIn is AI generated.
Solely, like without human intervention, just completely generated without human intervention whatsoever. So that, in that opinion,
that's crazy, actually,
and that has a limited value. So if you think about it, if you're LinkedIn, that is what keeps you up at night. You're like, I'm a multi-billion-dollar company at this point in time. What is going to eat away at my base? And what's going to eat away at their base is a bunch of robots taking advantage of it. But Michael, you brought up a really interesting point. So when you rate limit things, right, efficiency becomes extremely important, right? Because you want to make sure that every attempt that you get at a conversation is with the exact right person, because you're not getting more today, more or less. So you can't just be sending out random communications. You have to decide who are the most important people that I connect with today.
Yeah. So, and that I think is a great segue into what is operationalized social, because that's a massive part of it.
People are asking about that too. One of the questions was interesting contrast as a practice, not just as a buzzword. A practical touch I've seen work is tying social activity to measurable outcomes, like tying a post to a defined next step, not just impressions. Curious how you map that to influencer style engagement versus scalable reps. Well, let me just add one point. I think that there's data out there that proves that the influencers actually move the scale a lot less than what you could consider like micro influencers, right? Like people that have expertise and knowledge in their specific and refined niche move the economic needle more than a person that makes a big splash. So I just kind of wanted to start with that. But Michael, what would you say as far as like how you map influencer style engagement to like scalable reps from an operational social perspective?
That sounds like an AI comment to me.
Oh, shut down. Damn.
I'm just kidding. But not really. But I will answer it. So operationalized social has like 4 main pillars to it. So the first is creating awareness. And I'll create the distinction. So there's 2 ways to create awareness, right? You can either create awareness at scale by posting. So that would be, Brian, you or me, right? Like posting on LinkedIn, sharing our thoughts. The way that I typically break that down very simply, and I made a post about this yesterday, but just simple, 3 different buckets. You have top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. I'm posting for my prospects and for the people that I'm trying to get my stories in front of. I'm not posting for anybody else. Right. So like if my posts are irrelevant to 90% of the people that follow me, then I probably have just curated my followers and connections relatively poorly for the people I'm trying to sell to. But it's rev ops, it's sales, it's marketing, and it's founders. All the content I make is hopefully to create awareness with those people and build trust and effectively, hopefully move them down the funnel. The top of funnel content is like high level awareness. So it's storytelling. It's talking about other people. It's talking about how other people are using LinkedIn, the impact it's making on their businesses, et cetera. Middle of the funnel is practical tips, right? Like, hey, stop writing emails, start commenting on posts.
How to, yeah.
Yeah, how to. And those typically get the most saves and the most follows, but they don't get the most impressions and they don't book the most meetings. The third is bottom of the funnel. This is where we're talking about the functionality that we have as a company, new product releases. Hey, this is like a use case of how you can use FirstTouch. Those have the least impressions. They book the most meetings. If you don't have one of those content pillars, like the whole process, in my opinion, doesn't work very well, right? Because you're not building top of funnel awareness, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. You have to have the upside down pyramid. So what if you're a rep, right? Like what if you're not creating awareness at scale? This is a really important distinction. You can create one-to-one awareness with people on LinkedIn. It's the only place you can do it. And you can make deposits before you ask for withdrawals by commenting on people's posts. And this is why I say, like, don't use AI. I actually think thoughtful human written comments have the best return on investment for building one-to-one awareness. And I've done this with tons of people. I mean, I've met, without like, I think it's important for people to know, but I'm not trying to brag by saying this. I'm just trying to be very clear that like it can work almost anywhere. I've talked to like several people that are CEOs of technology companies that are multi-billion-dollar technology companies, simply because I commented on their posts consistently for like a week or two. Right. So they became aware of me and started responding to the comments. The second they responded to those comments, it's like digital eye contact, right? Like, cool. They just engaged with my comment. We just had an interaction. And that is one-to-one awareness being built with me and that individual. The cool thing is it compounds, because not only does that person see the comment, but the people in your feed see it. And so now the people in your feed see you engaging with someone who they might find impressive. And now they've seen that interaction of you two going back and forth. And it starts to create familiarity, right? Like, and trust. Like, hey, Michael's engaging with people that I respect and want to engage with. And you start to have compounding results with this. So high level awareness is generated through posting. One-to-one awareness typically generated through the comment section. That pillar is the pillar that warms up everything else that we're about to talk about. If you don't do those 2 things, you're basically doing cold outbound on LinkedIn. And that's extremely difficult.
So the difference between those marketing channels is LinkedIn allows you to warm the individual up without asking for something first. You can give, you can share without asking. So believe it or not, we're at the 30-minute mark. This is normally a 30-minute go, but I'm going to take this one last question, and then I'll defer to either of you if you'd like to add anything. And then I think I actually I have another meeting that's going to run up against this. But the one last question was, can you talk about AI visual design versus human visualization, which will get more attention of the audience? Like, are people think like, and I do wonder that, like when you see the CR logo on an image that's associated with a post, do you think to yourself they should have just not used the image at all? Would they have been better off just writing the text and just not putting the AI image on there and calling themselves to the carpet, more or less?
I think it depends, at least for me personally. I've seen some very interesting AI content, whether that's video or pictures, but it's more, at least I'm thinking to the ones that I'm interested video-wise is when they're like how-tos or explanatory videos where they also show the visualization behind it. I mean, I think it depends. If it's a well-written content plus the visualization like makes sense or it's unique, I think it's still cool. If it's like general AI, you can see it's like low effort, or just like random, I'd say, it won't catch my attention. But for example, you guys might have seen these online where it's like, you put yourself into like a character box and it's like the visuals of like the things that person likes within AI. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michael? Or is it?
I've seen those.
I forget the name of it, but
I
that's
don't.
I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
I'm so horribly uncool at this point. I have no idea what's going on.
Those types of images, I'd say, yep, they're kind of cool. But if it's just random ones, I'd say, meh.
So I think to summarize, RV is like, leave your low effort AI content behind. Michael, what do you think?
I think the nuance that you mentioned was actually really good. Like, I agree with it. If it's a well-written post, right, and you have like a clear story that you're telling in the post, and then you have some accompanying visual that's like somehow related or interesting, I like that a lot. The visuals that I kind of like are like, okay, some people post about who are the people to follow on LinkedIn, or like who are the people that you should be following if you care about these things, and then they have like charts of the people's pictures. I'm like, okay, that's like a creative way of making that visual, right? I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you're probably not gonna want to design that in Canva. That'd take forever, but like do it with AI, fine. But yeah, to your point, like the AI slop, like when people are like, here's this massive chart of all these different things that like you should be doing, and I'm like, that is so overwhelming and like not helpful. So I'd say like if you have a really well-written post and you have a accompanying visual, great. For some of those like stat-based posts, those can be cool. But if you're just like building those massive charts of like interconnected,
my favorite AI posts are the ones that say like, I went to the beach this weekend and here's what it taught me about business, and you're like, what? Like those typical ones.
Love it. Cool.
All right. So I'll plug, because look, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going live with my product on AppSumo on Monday at 9 a.m.
Let's go.
The interesting thing about that is we're going to see if this company has what it takes to take it to the next level. We're going to find out very quickly. Anything that you guys would like to plug or end on? RV, Michael?
No.
I'll let Michael go. Yeah, I was going to say.
Go to AppSumo on Monday. That's what I'm.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, that was awesome. Michael, thanks for being a great guest. As always, thank you to the audience for entertaining us. Hopefully we shared some useful and interesting factoids with you. I think, Michael, you're a great guest. RV, anything else, or we'll see him next time?
No, I appreciate it. Great meeting you, Michael, as well.
Great meeting you too. Bye, guys.
All right. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Bye for now.